Hello and welcome back to Toadstool Tarot. Um, I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Ancient Italian Tarot. This is from Lo Scarabeo, and I've had it for a little while, a few weeks. It's the last of my collection, but others are on the way in the mail, so I'm getting to this now. It's a Marseille deck. I don't know if it's strictly speaking a Marseille deck because Marseille decks were French and this is Italian. But I believe the setup is the same. Came in a tuck box, and my tuck box had a little dinged up corner. But I don't like tuck boxes anyway, so it's not a big issue to me. The reason I don't like tuck boxes is they're always an issue when you go to close them. Something may happen to damage your deck. For instance, the little white book. The corner of the cover got torn up just trying to close the flap on the box. And this is a typical little white book, so it's in multiple languages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different languages, so you don't get too much. You only get 12 pages of each language, I guess. The cards are labeled in Italian, but anybody who knows the tarot will find them readily apparent which cards are which, and they're also numbered, so you can, if you're not sure, you can double check yourself by looking at the numbers. The major arcana are numbered in Arabic numerals and Roman numerals. These are the backs of the cards, which is a lovely antique design. Looks very rococo. The cards are typical Scarabeo stock. There's a little title card with the Italian flag. And a little, little ad card there, Those are typical. Now, when I first saw this deck, it really didn't appeal that much to me. I'm not that much into Pip decks or Marseille decks as a rule. But I saw some images that I found quite lovely and delicate, and others I found disturbing. For instance, the Fool and the Magician are both, shall we say, seedy-looking characters, a bit on the grisly, crusty side, and they didn't really appeal to me. They're in line or in keeping with sort of the old school Marseille style of depiction of the Fool as sort of a hobo or a scoundrel. The Magician is a trickster instead of a magician, really. But when I first saw them, even though they were sort of seedy and grisly looking, I couldn't stop thinking about them once I saw the images. So I decided, it wasn't an expensive deck, I decided to go ahead and get myself a copy. There we have the Fool, and you might see what I'm talking about in the expression on his face. It's, it's a little bit confrontational, I guess. Looking right at you. But also in a kind of, nasty, trying to trick you or get something over on you or out of you. Certain feel to it. I don't know. Yeah, and here's the magician. He's all dressed up, but it's like a snake oil salesman or something. It's really seems untrustworthy. And like the guys that play, I can't think of the name, where they hide something under a shell or under 3 cups. That 3-card Monty, or is that something else? Anyway, I think you know what I mean. Here is the High Priestess, which is the Popess, the Papessa. Very pretty. And the colorings in this deck are a little more elaborate than what you might be used to with a Marseille deck. You get a pretty nice array of golden yellow, red, blue, and green, brown. There's the Emperor. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, that was the Empress and the Emperor. Then the Pope. It's a very detailed and very ornate and antique-y looking, although it's on a pretty stark white cardstock, so they're not strictly speaking antique-y looking. I'm just talking about the style of the artwork, like old engravings that might have been hand colored. No, I'm not sure if these are accurate to, original printings, what might have been involved in lithography to add the color. It's a nice hermit. Wheel of Fortune. Strength at 11. Yeah, we have Justice and Strength switched. Justice was 8, Strength is 11 in this deck. Here's the Hanged Man, who also has a sort of a creepy facial expression. Quite worried, panicky. Really nice death. Beautiful skeleton. Temperance. Again, a creepy devil. The Tower. This is a beautiful Tower card. Gorgeous. Star card, also very pretty. She's got her hair tied up in a ribbon, which is sort of unusual. And this one struck me a little bit odd. The moon, it seems to be, I don't know if it's a lobster or a crayfish. It looks like a lobster, but to the best of my recollection, lobsters aren't red until they're boiled. They're not red in their natural living state, although this looks like it's a lobster on a plate, so I don't know if it's being served up to this dog as dinner. Sun, beautiful sun card. In some ways, these remind me a little bit of the quality in the 1JJ Swiss deck, some of them. It's sort of that kind of engraving aspect or quality. Justice. And the World. Then we have some very pretty pip cards. Your Cups. These do have numbers on the side in case you don't want to count the cups. And I'm grateful that despite the 6 languages in the booklet, we don't have 6 languages on these cards. Thank you for that, Lo Scarabeo. I think as Pip or Marseille decks go, this is a pretty one. Here's your page, which looks rather feminine or androgynous, although the same might be said of the knight. Regina, the queen. Ray, the king. Then we have the pentacles, I guess. Regno d'Italia Centesimi 50. Cartiera Italiana Serval Cessia. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Oh. There's a stamp on this that looks like, can't tell if it says 1880 or 1980. If it's 1980, then it's somebody's copy of this deck that they've stamped with. If it's 1880, that might have been possibly the year it was published. I don't know. Don't know. But these are very pretty pentacles or coins, or in this case they look like flowers. Flowers in a garden surrounded by other floral patterns. Now, here, the court cards here are a little bit more masculine. This one's a much older knight. More mature, I should say. Youngish queen and a rather aged king. Then we have our wands, which is usually depicted as a club from the ace in the deck, and then more refined wands. And here they have rather sharp points. They remind me of fountain pens. I was going to say the pen is mightier than the sword, except these aren't swords, these are wands. Very pretty coloring, very pretty patterns. I am not adept at this stage of reading pips. What I end up having to do, I'm so familiar at this point with the Rider-Waite system that when I see a pip, I have to translate it to the image in my head in order for me to read it. And I don't think that's probably the best way to approach dealing with Marseille. Yeah, we have the swords in blue and yellow. So I think I have maybe 4 or 5 Marseille decks. And I have another one. Not sure if it's actually Marseille or a pip deck on the way. Well, I think I have 3 or 4 decks on order. 2 of them are scheduled to arrive this week. So that should be enough to get me through April. So this is the Ancient Italian Tarot. Reasonably priced. I think it was under 20. Might have been about 18 or something on Amazon. I'd probably toss the box, although I don't. I save these boxes. I have a shelf over here with empty boxes on it I should probably get rid of, except from time to time I put things in tins or bags, and then later on I co-opt those tins or bags for more current decks or decks that I'm using more. And if something turns out to be a deck I don't use as much, I'm happy to have the box for the deck to go back into. And some of them have ended up going in a separate big collective box for potential regifting or sale or trade. But that's a walkthrough for another day. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all soon.